There are 3 T's to YouTube. There's title, thumbnail, and topic. Because if you don't get these 3 right, it doesn't matter how much time you put into the video or how amazing your background is. If you are not telling people things that they're curious about, that solve their pain points or shift their mindset in some way, none of it matters.
Hey, Brooke, welcome to the show.
Hi, it's my pleasure to be here.
So I'm really excited to talk with you because we have 2 things in common. We have LinkedIn, and then we also have video, but specifically YouTube, which is an area I've been exploring for my business. Long form video specifically, we've been doing short form forever because we post a short form video to LinkedIn. You can use it everywhere, and YouTube is one of those places. And it's always fascinating to see what takes off on LinkedIn, what takes off on YouTube or TikTok or any of these other platforms. But today, I want to hear about what you're doing on YouTube, how it's working for you, and because I know there's a lot of people out there looking at doing YouTube in 2026 or this, when this episode airs, it'll be in the, well into 2026. So let's kick things off. What would you say is your claim to fame in the content marketing world?
I would say it's turning YouTube views into clients without selling your soul.
YouTube views into clients. So you're actually able to get business from YouTube. You can track it back to that.
Easily. And I wish I had started YouTube sooner.
Really? Because you've been doing it, what, 5 years now? I think I looked at your channel 5 years, 2020.
Yeah. Technically I started a channel in 2014, but it was only like once a year I'd dump a video there just in case I lost the original file kind of thing. So I don't count those years. I didn't really make an actual effort into it and consistently post on YouTube till 2020 because of the pandemic, actually. I knew I had to get my marketing in fuller gear, basically, because it was just harder to get clients at that time, especially 2020 specifically.
Now, I had a chance to look at least one of your videos, and I was blown away at how well pasted it was, how informational, how helpful it was. A lot of YouTube videos in the business world are very fluffy. It's like a lot of words to say not very much. What surprised me about what I saw of your video was I learned something from it. It was surprising to me. And then you also did the best practice. Like you followed all the best practices I've seen from YouTube channels that they build tension. And then right in the middle, you referenced another video, I believe, or another asset you'd built, being your own advertiser. And it wasn't even disruptive. It was very elegant. And then you referenced it again at the end. And I was thinking, man, Brooke knows what she's doing here. And so you are what I want to be when I grow up on YouTube, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I'm excited to talk to you about this. And this is the first thing that comes to mind. You mentioned earlier you started a channel in 2014, you posted once a year. I think a lot of businesses, they think, oh, we're doing YouTube, right? We have a YouTube channel. Can you speak to the difference between having a YouTube channel and doing YouTube?
Totally. So I would say you can have a channel for sure. And if you just randomly post any kind of video there without thought to best practices, and by the way, I had to learn all of this, okay? It's not like I just knew it, okay? I didn't. But that doesn't mean you're actually going to get anything productive out of it. I mean, that's with like any venture in life. You could say, I have a website. Okay. But if the website, it's disorganized and it's too difficult to load and the print is 5 point, all these sort of things. And then you only update it every 2 years and lots of other things. You can't even be found in any kind of search. Doesn't matter if you have a website. It doesn't matter if you have anything unless you are following best practices or at least taking the time to learn them and then apply them. Okay, that's the difference. And then also it's the consistency piece as well. You could say you're on any social media platform, but it doesn't mean you're doing anything with it.
That question comes from a place of, I'm on LinkedIn as a video expert on LinkedIn and short form specifically, because that's all that makes really sense on LinkedIn because of the nature of it. It's a feed-based platform. You're scrolling, you watch somebody's video and go, oh, that's interesting, and you move on. Nobody's doing 8-10-minute videos. They are, but that's not what it's optimized for as a platform. And I say that because on LinkedIn, you get a lot of people. I have a lot of conversations with people who say, oh, I'm doing video. And you go look at their videos and it's a 6-second video of their backyard, because they're trying to illustrate a point, or it's a silly little reshare, or it's a podcast clip, or that's clearly not. There's no intention behind it. There's no strategy behind it. It's just, I'm checking the box. So that's where that question comes from, because there is a huge difference, isn't there, between having a channel and posting and checking the box and actually having a strategy behind an intention behind what you're doing. And that's what I'm excited to dive into today with with what you're doing. And I'm curious about when you got into this, what was your strategy? Was it just try to talk to what, I was curious, what was your strategy just getting started?
I knew that I wanted to do things I know I wanted to be educational, and I realized after maybe 2 or 3 videos of going into this that, okay, I'm gonna try to inject my personality if I can. 'Cause, naturally I'm quirky and I'm described as funny, so I'll just say it because that's what people say I am. So really, edutainment is what it ended up quickly evolving into. But I will say that, about a little less than a year in, I reached out to a YouTube guru who's really awesome and, paid $600 for a 1-hour consult. But I will tell you, and that was like the best consult. And one thing he told me, and I'm sure you can resonate with this, because I thought I was doing really well. Okay. And I was like, why does it only have so many subscribers? And he said, your channel really just isn't that special. And he said it in the nicest, kindest way. And he explained why. And what happens is a lot of times, just because for us, video is almost like it feels like an art form, like this is a part of us. And we're not as objective with the aesthetics, with the scripting, with, how it's perceived or anything like that. We just figure, I just gave myself to this, so it must be good. And so it forced me to take a really hard look and say, okay, what can I do to differentiate even more? And from that point forward, also, I started taking just tons of, I guess, yeah, like YouTube training, not a ton of YouTube training courses, but like continued YouTube training from a very small number of vendors or trainers. But those all really, really, really good. You're not going to figure it out on your own. You just won't.
You can't, no. You could pick up things. I mean, I certainly know a thing or two about how to do a good YouTube video based on what I've watched. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos in educational and otherwise, presentations. Right now, I'm watching a bunch of Sarah Payne describe the British strategy in World War II, and it's like, all these different niche, funny things, and you can pick up what is effective and what's interesting. Can you give us like a walkthrough of some of the things you've learned that you weren't doing before, and you've learned from doing it yourself, or you just picked up from those console calls you did?
That's great. Okay. So let's talk big picture down. So there are 3 T's to YouTube that I think of. Actually, now there are 4, but basically 3. There's title, thumbnail, and topic. Okay. Now, because if you don't get these 3 right, it doesn't matter how much time you put into the video or how amazing your background is or anything. It's not going to matter. So let's start with the topic. And by the way, what I'm going to share, I think applies to almost all social media. You really should be focused on the topic first and then figure out the format. So to your point about, people say they do video. Okay, that's a format. But if you are not telling people things that they're curious about, that solve their pain points, or, that shift their mindset in some way, and you present it in a way that they're willing to hear it, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Okay. So figuring out the topic first is really, really important. And one thing I do look for is content gaps. Before I learned about content gaps, I would think about what sort of questions are my clients asking me a lot, which, is helpful. Okay. But it doesn't necessarily translate to what are people searching for on LinkedIn. There's a difference. Okay. So, and, I was getting some views and stuff like that. And then I learned about content gaps, and basically all my research was telling me to do a video on how to set up a LinkedIn company page. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that for a million reasons. First of all, it's going to require a million screen shares. Company pages really aren't what it's at, kind of thing. It's the personal profile. It's going to be tedious. I don't even like company pages. It shouldn't be part of a key LinkedIn strategy for 99.9% of people on LinkedIn. Okay. But the research kept on saying, this is like all the numbers were pointing to it. And I should have pulled up the numbers before you interviewed me, but I think I've earned just in ad revenue it has maybe 400,000 views now. I think $5,000 of ad revenue just from Google. I've also gotten numerous clients from that, which are way beyond the $5,000, and I think a few thousand subscribers. from that one video. And then since then what my YouTube mentor was like, you really should do a follow-up on that video because the first one was in 2022. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. She's like, come on, Brooke. So I did it, and it's getting up there.
It's so funny how that stuff, you're right, because I'm the same way. Like your LinkedIn company page is so minuscule in terms of its significance to an effective LinkedIn strategy. Extremely minuscule. It can be helpful, but it's always going to be secondary, tertiary to an effective strategy, which is from a personal profile, and even thought leadership ads, if you decide to do advertising, are better when done from a personal profile versus a company page. But yeah, it's so funny how you saw that. What tool did you use to research this? Was it something like vidIQ? I know I've seen that as a tool.
Yes, vidIQ is very, very helpful. And what I liked about it is I was looking for videos for topics that views were more than the subscribers of the different channels who have done it. In other words, and especially smaller channels, like if a small, tough and scrappy channel that they don't have a large team, like there's so many things going wrong with the video, but the topic is still rocking it, that that's a good one. Yeah. So, and actually I do want to, cause I still want to talk about the title and thumbnail, by the way, for the other two T's. But one other thing I do want to mention is, I did this video, but I wanted to make sure when I talked about the LinkedIn company page, I said, okay, we're talking about this, but keep in mind your profile is more important. So that's the part of not selling your soul, because what happens, and I see this on YouTube, I see it on LinkedIn, and you know what? It's probably on every social media platform, where it's one thing to tell people what they want, but if you don't lead them to what they need, then there's a big problem. That's why I don't do videos like, here's how I blew up my, LinkedIn account by, here's how I gained 100,000 followers in 5 minutes, which is a slight exaggeration, but not much. Okay. Because people want to know about that, or I always want to make sure I tell people, like, okay, I know you were asking for this, and I'm going to show you, but this is what you need to know. So that was really important to me. And I will say that's why, not every single video gets the highest views, but I know that I'm doing the right thing. Everything is organic. That's the other thing too. A lot of people do buy their views. I don't buy my views. So what you see is those were actual views of people who are actually curious.
That's what fascinates me about your approach, Brooke, is that when I look at your videos, the thumbnails are beautiful. The titles are good. They're clear, sometimes enticing, depending on the topic. And I'm thinking I could watch every single one of these. I know I could, and I would enjoy it. And what blows me away is that many of these videos, I'm looking at all your popular videos. So if anybody knows, you can go to YouTube, go to videos and go latest, popular, oldest. I'm looking at all your populars, well over 6 figures. And then you start scrolling. There are way more videos under 5,000 views, even under 1,000 views, a ton of videos under 1,000 views. And these videos, if you saw the thumbnail and title without the views, you would think, oh, this has got to be a really popular video, but it's not, just because of the topic you picked is so niche. And I want to talk to you about that, because we are talking about topics. How do you measure the success of a video, knowing, some of these are according to YouTube standards, they're bombing. Even though, like, the video you shared with me, the one I watched, I think was a 900 view video, but it was good. I was like, this is so good. Tell me about that philosophy and how you move forward with knowing you're going to have a lot of videos because of your subject matter, right? You're going to have low view counts.
Two perspectives on this. The first one is I need the right people watching my videos. So what happens now, and I had to shift this, and I will say it did decrease my views overall per month. I was thinking, what videos in general are going to attract my clients? My clients, again, hire me for LinkedIn consultation. Are they going to spend close to $2,000, okay, for someone who tells them where to press the buttons, or someone who gives them perspective and coaches them and gets their mindset in the right way and helps them prioritize? So the videos that have lower views are the selling points basically for my business. The how-to videos, like the how to, start your company page and stuff like that, are great. I hate to use the word funnel because I don't want to treat people that way, but it's a great way of attracting a huge mass. And then those right people who are really interested will see more of my videos, especially the strategy ones. So only 20% of my videos now are how-to, and it used to be like 80%. Okay. So I had more views, but fewer clients. Okay. But now I have more clients and fewer views. And you know what? As long as I'm paying the mortgage, I don't care. The second thing is that, even just, because I think my channel has like around 25,000 subscribers right now. And it might be in the top 3% of channels.
Oh, just 25,000 is it in the top 3%? That's how many channels. Wow.
Yeah, it's in the top 3%. So I'm like, you know what? I'm okay being in the 97th percentile and paying the mortgage. So to me, it's not bombing.
It totally makes sense. It's that 80-20 principle, 20% how to, the rest is what are the actual videos that will help me get people not just to learn about this, but learn about why they need to work with someone like me because of the subject material. I want to give you a chance to talk about thumbnail and the rest of it, because that's interesting to me as well. I'm also curious how much time on average it takes you to put one of these videos together. And then I'm also curious later, and this is why we're going to run out of time and we have to have a part two. Like, what are you getting for results? Are you seeing any trends for videos leading to specific calls, all that kind of stuff? But I want to dive into the thumbnail and the title.
The title and the thumbnail are really your entry point into the video. That's actually where the video begins, right? Because people are making a decision whether they're going to be watching based on that title and thumbnail. But so you're making a promise. First of all, it's packaging. Unless people decide to click on that video, they're not going to watch. It's kind of like the tree that falls and no one hears. Okay, no one's going to hear it if you didn't have a good title and thumbnail with that tree that fell. That's literally what it is. That's actually a horrible analogy, but you understand what I'm saying. The other thing is that I make sure all of that is squared away, at least the concept of the thumbnail and the final for the title before I start scripting, because that's the beginning of the video. So I need to have in my mind, what are people's expectations when they click in, so that way I'm able to deliver. Because otherwise, if you make the video and then say, okay, what's the door going to look like to the house I just built? It could look a little awkward. And you would ask how long it takes. Oh, on average, from start to finish, from researching, which by the way, I watch every other YouTube video about whatever I want to talk about, so I can find out what they're missing and then change it. Okay. So from the research and the scripting and the filming and then the editing takes the longest. It's somewhere between 30 to 40 hours.
You have really gone in on this. That's what I'm taking away from that number. This is not oh, and by the way, I have a YouTube channel. No, this is, I mean, I could have guessed. This is a big part of what Brooke Miles does for LinkedIn. What made you decide on a YouTube channel versus just, since you're a LinkedIn consultant, what made you decide to go to YouTube?
A few things. First of all, I had already been telling my clients, oh, you should really do more video. But I wasn't doing video. Okay. So number one, had to stop being a hypocrite. Second, it was the pandemic. Okay. So what I used to do is between LinkedIn and in-person networking, that's where I found most of my clients. Well, the LinkedIn obviously still stayed, of course. Okay. But the in-person networking went away for quite a while. And so I was like, you know what, I need to kick it up a notch somewhere else.
Do you remember your first client you got from doing this?
The issue that I've had clients since 2014, just in general. So I'm trying to think who I'd have to think about that one.
So, but there must have been a reward, because a lot of people, they'll try new things, and I'm guilty of this too. We'll all, as humans, we try new things and we think this is great. I'm swimming. But after a while, if you don't reach an island of some kind or reach a milestone of some kind, you give up. So what was that moment that made you decide to keep going?
I'm just a very persistent person. Like, for example, I'm vegan, and I remember, telling my husband late 2012 or something, actually, he was my boyfriend at the time. I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go vegan. And here's why. And I mean, I just went, and I'm still vegan 12 years later. The key is that if I do something, I do it all the way.
That's a very specific to Brooke skill. That's why I'm asking. It's incredible. That's an incredible strength to have, because most of us, we don't have that skill. That's one of the challenges. I see a lot of our clients come to us, go, oh, I've been wanting to do video for 10 years. They've been told to do video, and then they try. And this is not usually ideal fit clients. It's the folks who are, this is the first money they've ever spent on marketing. And then you try it for 3 months. They're like, it's not doing what I wanted. Well, what do you want it to? Well, I was expecting to get leads. Are you doing anything else? No, I'm not. So there's all these expectations that something should work within just a few months. That's why I was asking about that. Was there a motivating moment for you? But it sounds like, no, you're just going for it no matter what.
Yeah. Now, I will tell you two things. One of them is, one thing you learn very early in marketing is that it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? Okay. So that's one thing. You have to carry things through at least 6 months, not a year. Okay. You just have to. It's about building awareness and community and trust. And that doesn't happen after one video or one of anything. The second thing, and I was going to try to draw this, but I'm not going to be able to draw it. But so if you want to get from point A to point B, okay, This is the quickest way. But if you're like, I think I'll do that. No, I think I'll do this. No, I'll do this. No, I'll do that. Da, da, da. You're never going to get here. Okay. So try one thing and stick with it and give it the chance to get to that point.
You're passionately describing what I went through when I started my LinkedIn journey 3 years ago, like, took it seriously. I had to tell my brain, "Trust the process," for months, because my brain constantly wanted to stop doing it because it wasn't seeing results. And so you gotta be able to stick to one thing long enough. And by the way, to close loop on that story, when I trusted the process, it was 3 months it took me, and then I got 12 leads within a 45-day window after 3 months of, posting consistently and being active on LinkedIn, directly and indirectly a result of being active on LinkedIn. Now, that's not everyone's story. There are people that don't get anything for 9 months. And so some of our clients, we had, one of our clients, she's a executive search firm, didn't get her first true, real, directly attributable opportunity for until 8 months. But it really depends on you and what you sell. And so your point is good.
With executive recruiters, they get one client, that's a huge amount of money. So 8 months worth, which is, that's worth the time. And I will say the biggest change for me is when I started getting calls or emails or like doing a Zoom call for that discovery call. And it used to always be, okay, so tell me about yourself and da 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 versus I am so glad I finally get to meet you. I've been watching all your videos. And like they've already decided they want to work with me because they feel they've gotten to know me better. So I don't have to go through that whole like proof process. The sales cycle went from like 2 years to like sometimes 2 minutes. I mean, I've had people say, I've decided that I need to work with you. That's the beginning of the call. And I'm the same person. The only difference is that I'm putting it out on video. So what you're doing and what you're doing makes perfect sense for your clients.
That's the beauty of content in general, but I would argue specifically video. Time spent getting to know, like, and trust somebody in that format. I'm a video guy. You're a video gal with what you do on YouTube, different flavors of the same dish. Brooke, where can someone learn more about you?
LinkedIn is a great place to find me. And then if you want to go to my YouTube channel, the link will be there. But the name of my channel is Delaware Shout Out. That's a whole different story as to why it's called that. It doesn't really matter. But and it's succeeded despite the name. But yeah, all the links are there. There's the two really good places to find me.
All right. Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.